Our brains are so powerful that they can literally create everything around us.
Hello and welcome to day 10 of Awakening to Ascension. Today we are joined by Alex and Marlene and myself, Janae, that will be hosting today's episode. And the topic today is the science behind placebo or belief. It's going to be quite an interesting one, and Alex is super stoked because this is right up his alley. And he's going to divulge and digress into the conversation as it flows. So, really, really looking forward to what he has to say on this topic. But for those of you that don't quite understand what this topic may mean, it's basically, in essence, you taking a sugar pill and believing that whatever the person tells you about what that sugar pill is going to do is going to work. So let's say you take a sugar pill for a runny tummy, and you take the sugar pill and it works. No runny tummy. It's the belief behind your mind and how you believe this sugar pill is working. And there's been many topics of healing and miracles based off of how you are able to manipulate the healing within your body by using this power. So I have personally experienced the placebo without knowing it. I was very vulnerable and not very knowledgeable. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this stuff works. No, it's not what you are taking. It is the belief you have behind what you are taking. So I'm going to hand it over to Alex because he's going to get in deep. Yes, let's go.
Thank you, Janae. Yes, I'm very excited about this one because just like you said, is right up my alley, right up my alley. But first, I want to start off by saying I've never heard the term runny tummy, but I'm from America, so I love it. And moving right into it. So, yeah, placebos do come in a lot of ways. The most common would be like a sugar pill, like Janae said, where you take something believing it's going to do something, but it doesn't actually have anything inside of it to make that happen. But because you actually believe it, that's what happens to you. And one main way that placebos come through is also through our eyes, through the things that we watch. For example, and I can say this because I've had depression for over 20 years, but remember those commercials that came on a long time ago talking about depression? Like, oh, if you do this, if you do that, if you don't like getting up in the morning, if you feel sad around family members, you may have depression. And then we start getting this idea in our head, and then more and more people have depression, right? Where a long time ago, I don't think there was as much depression as there is now. And they've done studies, so they've found people with depression, gave 50% of them an actual drug, 50% of them a sugar pill, and they were surprised to find out how many people were actually getting cured. But it works at the same time. If you do take something and you don't actually want it to work or you don't believe it's going to work, your brain will override that. And what's beautiful about placebo and belief is our brains can create almost any chemical just with inside of itself, right? So with people constantly scrolling on TikTok or Instagram, your brain is generating dopamine for like every like, everything. And that's like what is creating this dissonance with society is we're getting so dependent on stimulation. Anything boring, our brains are twisting and like turning into immediate disregard. And this is dangerous because it allows us to not be bored and learn and find out things that help us grow because it's not exciting.
I just want to add something with regards to the scrolling and the dopamine. So these apps are created to keep you on them for as long as possible. So you'll receive notifications to bring you back onto the app. But something interesting with regards to the evolution of the human and the mind and what's actually happened because of these screen times that we are experiencing is essentially there was a ratio that said that your concentration period was equivalent to how old you are. So if you're 7 years old, then your concentration is 7 seconds or 7 minutes, or but I think it's 7 seconds. So obviously now, as we've evolved as humanity, that's becoming less and less. So the human now cannot hold longer than 5 seconds as an adult. That's why you see people scrolling so quickly, because they can't actually hold an attention span towards something specific for longer than 5 seconds, which is quite scary. Just something that I wanted to add in with regards to how these screen times and looking at something through your eyes are starting to affect and deteriorate the capacity that you have with the power of your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. That placebo effect isn't actually the brain even faking it. It's about the brain having the ability to self-regulate. And if you can't regulate and self-regulate, that's a problem. So your belief is absolutely key in this whole thing. Um, I mean, for scrolling and not actually even being able to remember what you have just read, that says something drastic about what's actually happening in our brains and in our minds. And having said that, if you are given a placebo and you are actually told you might even feel nausea and you might get a terrible headache. Those people actually believe that and they develop those symptoms. And all they've had is a sugar pill. So, honestly, this is very, very serious. Your brain is releasing that dopamine, and then it's getting that dopamine kick. And of course, as Alex was saying, it actually craves it. So you're doing more and more and more to just get your daily fix. Janae.
I'm sure many of the viewers and listeners have heard that they did MRI scans with cocaine addicts and children. So what a cocaine addict's brain was doing while it had the cocaine in the system, and what a child's mind and brain is doing while they are on the screen. And it's the same. The brain is releasing all of the same chemicals that it is releasing. So it is a little bit of a serious topic, and Alex has some more. So let's hear. Yes.
Yes, so this is exactly what Marlene and Janae were saying. So your brain creates the reality of from the belief. So whether it's a placebo or not, if you actually believe something is true, as far as you know from your perspective, it is. That's why you'll see so many people, and I would like to point out like the billionaires of the world, like they actually think they're doing a good thing. They're actually good people. So in their mind, they're not doing anything wrong, and they actually believe that. While the rest of us are like, can you please stop like sucking us dry and destroying our planet, please? They just don't see that. And the same way it works with hypochondriacs and people with like psychosomatic ailments. You really believe that you have an ailment, or like when you WebMD something, right? You get like a bump on your arm, you start looking into it, you constantly scroll about what it could be. Then that becomes more real in your brain. You're like, oh my God, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it is. Your symptoms get worse because your brain actually believes this is what's happening. The reason I know so much about this topic is A, because I've been through it, and B, I am a hypnotherapist. And one of the ways that we change the process of someone's brain is you drop them into a trance state, understand why they're believing what they believe, and then start reprogramming their brain to have a narrative that is what they actually want, right? So if you have insomnia, you might tell yourself and tell people all day long, yeah, I've got insomnia, I've got insomnia, I have it, it's mine, I've had it forever. Every time you say that, your brain hears it and wants to make what you're saying true. So the best way to avoid, and this works for healing, I've done this with my anxiety, my depression, my insomnia, my addiction, all the things that I've had that doctors told me were a chemical imbalance, I'd have them for the rest of my life. I stopped. And you start by talking to yourself positively. What you want. If you want to love more around you, notice it, identify it, verbalize it. Your brain will start seeing these things more often because it's like, oh, you want that? I mean, this even works with things like going to the gym. If you don't like going to the gym, lie to yourself. Tell yourself that you love it, especially while you're like doing reps. You're like, oh, I love this, even though you don't. Your brain will start changing and you'll start actually wanting to go to the gym and eat healthier or whatever it is that you want.
So, Alex,
So
I
your
just,
brain
yes, Marlene?
So the brain actually doesn't know the difference between real and not real. So exactly what you were saying. I love this pumping. Yes, yes, yes. Your brain doesn't know. It's you're just bedding down that actual feeling. And so when you get into the feeling and you tell your brain, yeah, this is wonderful, it knows no difference. And going back to what Alex was saying, the word actually is psychosomatic illness that people have. They've developed psychosomatic illnesses because they've thought these things and they are rehashing all of this all of the time. Terrible.
So I wanted to add as well, just with regards to those healers. Okay, so we all know them, we've seen them, we've witnessed them. So you are paralyzed or you are blind, and this healer is able to heal you. You believe so much so that this person is able to heal you that they do. It is a part of the psychosis behind the healing. It's not that person healing you, you're healing yourself. And then another topic that I just wanted to bring up was with regards to, it's gone, it literally left, it's boops. Okay, I'm gonna let Alex go and then
All
it might
right.
come back to me.
That happens to the best of us. Don't even
Oh
worry.
yeah.
So yeah, you actually kind of sparked an idea with me. So this works really well in the spiritual community. So you'll have some people that think crystals, astrology, all of it's just bollocks, right? Doesn't mean anything. That's because they don't believe it. Then you'll have the people that are diehard. They're like, "Oh, I swear by this. I know this crystal will help protect me. I know that when the stars align in a certain way, I feel better, or I'm able to make this move with my business." And it's that belief, so it's real for both of them and it's not real for both of them, right? Because our brains are so powerful that they can literally create everything around us. And there was something
It
else I
still
was going to say
hasn't
too,
come,
I
it
forgot.
still hasn't come back to me, but it was relating to what you had said, something that Alex had said. And I think it comes down to this entire topic basically just comes down to the power of your mind and what it's capable of doing on a grand scale in a positive way, and what it can actually do to deteriorate you as well. So if you are constantly saying that you are always sick, I'm always getting sick, and then you are always going to get sick. So as soon as I start feeling flu-like symptoms, firstly, when you do experience flu-like symptoms, it's your body speaking to you because it's disease, which is dis-ease within your human form. So you need to listen to it. But something that I've learned to practice, both myself and with Mason, is if we do start to feel flu-like symptoms or just run down, we don't say, oh, I feel like I'm getting sick. I feel terrible. we actually say, I am healing. That's the narrative that we've created. So I think it's all about how you're going to change the narrative and change the perspective on anything that happens in your reality. Yes, Marlene.
So basically, I think that your beliefs trigger a pharmacy inside of your brain because your brain is that powerful. It's super powerful. So be careful what you actually say. It's exactly as you say. Between that face, yes,
I'm so
tell us.
I also remembered. It
Now,
came back
now
to
you've just
me.
taken my words away.
I'm sorry.
Go
I'm
on then.
sorry. Okay, finish your thought.
No, it's fine. Go.
Okay, it just went poops back in my head. So there's been these experiments, right? With There's been multiple experiments. You can take an experiment with a plant. You have one plant that you speak to well, you give loving affirmations and you tell it how much, it's so amazing, it's so beautiful, and you just love this plant so much. And then you take another plant and you say, oh, you're horrible, you're ugly, I don't like you. And you can do this experiment with various objects. So you can use two plants. There have been experiments with rice. So rice in water, one rice jar, obviously you speak positively to, and one negatively. You can do it with apples. Don't bite into the apple. So it's just an apple. And when you do this experiment, you can do it for about a week. And you speak to the two separates in different rooms so they don't hear you don't confuse them. And basically what you'll find as a result, so the plant that you've spoken to positively would have thrived and it's growing beautifully. And the plant that you've spoken to negatively would start to wilt and die. And the same applies with the apples. The apples is a really good one to do because it's closed. When you open and you cut the apple open, the one apple is ripe and fresh and beautiful, and the other apple looks fresh on the outside, but it's rotting on the inside, so it's going brown. And that's just something that you can do visually to understand the power of your words that you speak to living beings, because you are a living being. So you need to be very mindful of how you are speaking in your mind as well as out loud, because your brain hears everything all the time. Yes, Marlene.
So that was part of Dr. Masaru Emoto's experiments with water, and he proved it over and over and over, speaking to them. And you tell the water that you love it. You write words and you put it under the jar, and then you tell the water on the other side you hate it. And if you take that water and you freeze it, you actually see the crystals that form in that water is completely opposite to one another with love and with hate. It's
Mm,
phenomenal how
mm.
important our words are. Coming back to that, that brain of yours is a trigger for absolutely the pharmacy, either good or not so good.
Yeah,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Marlene. Yeah, so to wrap things up, we're out of time, but it's exactly right. Our brains are basically little pharmacies, and they do create all the different drugs that some of us ingest. Like, for example, if you get your leg cut off, you go into shock, your brain will shut down your pain feelings, right? It'll flood you with the chemicals so you don't suffer so much. Or like this happens in a lot of different cases. But I would like you to try to prove me wrong. Start talking to yourself differently this week. Start complimenting yourselves, focusing on what you love, and see what happens within 6 to 7 days. Things will start changing. And if you like, please like this show, comment, subscribe. If you have any suggestions on things that you can say to yourself, drop those in the comments. We'd love to have you on the show as well. Go ahead and join our community at school.com/ascend pathway. I'll have the link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.